Welcome to the deep dive. We take your sources, we dig in, and we try to pull out the most fascinating insights.
That's the plan.
And today we're definitely plunging into something that, well, it really pushes the boundaries of how we see reality. It's called Axiom 23, the cosmic code of control.
Yeah, this one's a mind bender. It's not just, another conspiracy theory. It's this idea of a hidden code, like woven right into how we perceive everything. Super subtle, supposedly.
But incredibly influential if you buy into it.
Absolutely. So I think the place to start is probably with the basics, the building blocks. We need to unpack what an axiom actually is, philosophically speaking.
Right, the foundation.
And then there's this whole other piece, the 23 Enigma, which is quite the phenomenon in itself.
Okay, so Axiom 23 Enigma.
Got it.
Then we dive into the actual claims, the really chilling stuff.
Yeah, exactly. What Axiom 23 is supposed to be, who might have put it there, and what secrets it's, allegedly hiding. It goes way beyond just a number.
We're talking like an operating system for the universe, influencing probability, consciousness, the works.
That's the core idea proponents put forward. And of course, we have to look at this so-called evidence.
Right. The things people point to.
Which is often the number 23 showing up again and again in history, pop culture, you name it, or these weird glitches in reality they talk about.
Things that make you go, huh.
Exactly. Little signs that the code is there.
Okay, but crucially, we need to keep our feet on the ground too. We'll definitely explore the counter-arguments, the logical explanations.
Oh, for sure. Epiphania, confirmation bias, the usual suspects when it comes to pattern seeking.
And maybe dig into why a theory like this catches on. That human need for hidden knowledge, that maybe distrust of pure random chance.
It definitely taps into something deep. It really dares you to question, well, everything. The basic rules.
All right, let's do it. Let's unpack this cosmic code.
Okay, so building blocks first, the axiom part. In maths and philosophy, an axiom is basically a starting point, a self-evident truth.
Something you don't need to prove, because it just is, like the foundation you build everything else on.
Precisely. It's a fundamental premise. So the immediate question Axiom 23 proponents pose is, what if reality itself has an axiom like that?
An unchangeable rule baked into the system.
Whoa, yeah. And that's where it connects or gets woven together with the other concept. The 23 Enigma.
Okay, tell me about the Enigma. I know it's linked to writers like William S. Burroughs, Robert Anton Wilson.
That's right. They really popularized it, especially in books like The Illuminatus, Trilogy, and Cosmic Trigger. The core idea is simple but compelling.
Which is?
That the number 23 just seems to appear way more often than you'd expect by chance. In all sorts of contexts, history, science, disasters, personal lives, movies, music, everywhere, once you start looking.
Okay, like what? Give me some classic examples they use.
Well, there are the biological ones, humans having 23 pairs of chromosomes.
Okay, that's a solid fact.
Then there's the Earth's axis tilt, around 23.5 degrees.
Also factual. Close enough for proponents, I guess.
Seems to be. Then it gets a bit more creative, counting letters and names, like William Shakespeare supposedly having 23 if you include the space, though that feels like a stretch.
Yeah, you can make numbers fit if you try hard enough.
Definitely. They'll point to historical dates, too. Julius Caesar's assassination, March 15th, 44 BC. They'll find ways, sometimes complex mathematical twists, to link that back to 23.
Okay, now we're getting into interpretation.
Very much so. JFK's assassination, November 22nd, 1963. Sometimes linked to the 23rd parallel. Again, connections are made, but they aren't always direct.
And the 2 divided by 3 thing?
Yes. 2 divided by 3 equals 0.666 recurring, which then gets immediately linked to the number of the beast.
Bit of a leap there.
A significant leap for most, yeah. They might even bring in things like degrees of separation in social networks. It's a collection of correlations, some stronger than others.
When you list them like that, it does sound like a lot. You can see how someone might start thinking, maybe there's something here.
Exactly. It triggers that pattern recognition part of our brain.
But there is a very standard skeptical explanation for all this, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's pretty well established. Psychology calls it apophenia, the human tendency to see meaningful patterns in random data.
Our brains are pattern-finding machines, sometimes too good for our own good.
That's it. Combine that with confirmation bias, where you actively look for things that confirm your belief and ignore things that don't.
So you start noticing every 23, but completely ignore all the 17s, 42s, and 8s that show up just as often, probably.
Precisely. It's selection bias, too. You select the data that fits. And interestingly, Robert Anton Wilson himself, who did so much to spread the 23 Enigma, He was very aware of this.
He acknowledged it was kind of self-fulfilling.
Yeah, he often presented it as an experiment in perception. Like, if you decide 23 is significant, you will find significance everywhere. Your mind creates the reality.
Okay, so the Axiom 23 conspiracy theory takes these two ideas, the philosophical axiom and this number enigma, and combines them. It elevates the pattern seeking into something much grander.
Exactly. It's not just, 23 appears a lot. It's 23 appears a lot because it's a fundamental, active, maybe even intelligent principle built into reality.
Not just a physical law we haven't discovered yet, like gravity, but something deeper, metaphysical.
That's the claim, like the universe's core algorithm or its programming language. And 23 is the signature, the version number, maybe.
The universe is running on Reality OS version 23.
Something like that. And crucially, it's not seen as random. It's deliberate, put there by some kind of higher intelligence.
Which brings us to the big question, who? Who are the alleged architects, the programmers of this cosmic code?
Well, buckle up because the theories get pretty wild here. There's a whole range.
I bet. Lay them on me.
Okay, one popular candidate. Ancient alien intelligences, cosmic programmers from another star system, or maybe even before our universe began.
The ultimate external developers.
Right. Then you have interdimensional beings, sometimes called archons in more Gnostic or esoteric circles.
Archons, I've heard that term. Often portrayed as controllers, right? Maybe parasitic.
Yes, exactly. In those theories, Axiom 23 might be their control mechanism, maybe even used for harvesting energy from us.
Like that louche energy concept some theories talk about. Emotional energy.
Precisely. Louche is often described, as psychic or emotional energy, particularly negative stuff like fear or suffering that these entities supposedly feed on. Axiom 23 could be seen as a way to structure reality to maximize that harvest. It's a dark perspective.
Definitely bleak. What else is on the architect list?
You also get variations on a creator figure. Could be benevolent, could be malevolent, but Axiom 23 is seen as the operating principle they built into their creation.
So God is a programmer, basically.
In a sense. And then there's a really intriguing one, future humanity.
Time travelers. Us, but later.
Yeah. The idea is that future humans discovered or maybe even created Axiom 23 and implanted it into the past or present, perhaps to guide our evolution, or maybe to prevent some future catastrophe they experienced.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of possibilities. Aliens, interdimensionals, God, future us. So, regardless of who, what's the supposed purpose? What's the hidden agenda behind this cosmic code?
Again, multiple theories, often overlapping. A big one is subtle control of destiny.
Not like iron-fisted fate, but nudges.
Exactly. Axiom 23 isn't thought to dictate every single tiny event, but more to influence probabilities, gently steering things, individual lives, or big world events towards a predetermined outcome.
Cosmic predictive programming. The universe itself dropping hints or pushing us along a certain path.
You got it. Another idea is consciousness manipulation, shaping our collective beliefs, our desires, maybe even our subconscious minds on a massive scale.
Making us want certain things or believe certain narratives.
Potentially. And then, tying back to the archons, there's the energy harvesting angle. Maybe Axiom 23 optimizes reality for the production of whatever energy they need, be it louche or creative energy or something else.
A farm, essentially.
In that view, yes. It's also sometimes seen as a kind of cosmic test or filter. The idea is that only those who are awake or spiritually attuned enough will notice the patterns, will see the K3s, and start questioning the nature of reality. It separates the aware from the unaware.
So seeing the pattern is like passing a level in the cosmic game.
Kind of, yeah. And some believe it's all leading up to something big, a great event.
Like what? Awakening, singularity, alien contact, apocalypse.
Could be any of those. And the claim is that as this event gets closer, the signature, the number 23, will appear more and more frequently, like reality is ramping up the signals.
And why is it hidden? Why don't we all just see it?
Because it's supposedly so fundamental, so baked in, that we take it for granted, like fish not noticing water. It requires a shift in perception, a deliberate effort to look past the surface.
Okay, so if this is such a profound truth about everything, why isn't it common knowledge? Why the big secret? This leads into the cover-up aspect, right?
Absolutely. A huge part of the Axiom 23 conspiracy theory is the assertion that powerful forces know about this code and are actively suppressing the truth, meticulously.
Okay, so who are the alleged suppressors? Who's keeping the lid on the cosmic code?
The usual suspects in many conspiracies, frankly. Global elites, secret societies, think Illuminati, Freemasons, groups like that.
And their motive?
Either they're exploiting Axiom 23 themselves, using its principles to manipulate populations and consolidate power, or they might actually be agents of the architects, working to maintain the system.
So they're either users or employees, basically.
Or both, potentially. Then you have governments and intelligence agencies. The theory suggests they stumbled upon Axiom 23 through top-secret research.
Like quantum computing experiments revealed the code, or deep space probes, psychic stuff.
Exactly those kinds of things. And once they found it, they classified it, partly to monopolize the power it grants, partly perhaps to prevent mass panic.
Yeah, telling everyone reality is a program run by aliens might cause a bit of chaos.
Just a bit. And then there's mainstream science and academia. They're also implicated.
How? Are they in on it too?
According to the theory, it's one of two things. Either they're just unintentionally blind, too stuck in their rigid materialist worldview to even consider something like Axiom 23, or they're actively complicit, suppressing research into things like synchronicity, numerology, consciousness, studies anything that might lead towards discovering the code, perhaps to protect the established scientific order or their own funding and careers.
And maybe even the architects themselves are involved in the suppression.
That's another twist, yeah. That the programmers subtly influence society through media, education, whatever, to keep people from noticing, to maintain the illusion of randomness.
Okay, so the motives seem clear. Maintain control, prevent mass awakening, hoard the ultimate knowledge, avoid accountability if they are the creators. Makes sense within the logic of the theory.
Right, and the methods they supposedly use. Disinformation is a big one. Ridiculing anyone who talks about 23 or cosmic codes, labeling them as crazy or delusional.
Standard tactic. Control the narrative.
Control the information flow, suppress inconvenient research findings, and subtly reinforce the idea of randomness everywhere in schools, in the news.
We might even use predictive programming in reverse, not hinting at the future, but programming us against seeing the code.
That's a fascinating idea within the theory, yeah. Actively conditioning us to dismiss patterns and synchronicities as meaningless coincidence.
Okay, let's shift gears. We've talked about the theory, the architects, the cover-up. What about the actual evidence proponents point to? How do they claim to see Axiom 23 working?
Well, the number one piece of evidence is simply the sheer pervasive recurrence of the number 23 itself.
We touched on this chromosomes, Earth's axis.
Yeah.
But they take it further.
Much further. They argue it's not just coincidence, it's a deliberate pattern showing up everywhere. We mentioned dates like 9/11.
Where the digits 9 plus 11 plus 2 plus 0 plus 0 plus 1 equals 23.
Exactly. Or finding 23s hidden in details surrounding the Hiroshima bombing, though often requiring, let's say, creative counting. It's not just history either. Pop culture is huge for them.
Like the Jim Carrey movie, The Number 23.
That's a prime example. Or the TV show Lost, which was full of recurring numbers, including 23. The electronic music group, the KLF, were famously obsessed with it.
And people see it in their own lives too. Addresses, phone numbers.
All the time. Believers report uncanny strings of 23s appearing birth dates, license plates, the time they happen to glance at a clock. The argument is basically the sheer volume makes randomness seem unlikely. It must be deliberate.
Okay, so beyond just the number itself, what about these glitches in the matrix or synchronicity?
Right, this is another key area. They argue that really meaningful coincidences, Jung called them synchronicities, aren't just random alignments.
They're messages or signs.
Signs of Axiom 23 at work, yes. Or even literal glitches, moments where reality seems to flicker, objects appearing or disappearing, weird repetitions, déjà vu.
Stuff that makes you feel like the simulation skipped a beat.
Exactly. They see these not as errors in perception, but as brief glimpses behind the curtain, subtle tells, revealing the underlying programmed nature of the universe. Maybe the programmer's making a small tweak.
And you mentioned an electronic music album earlier, Axiom 23 Hidden Agenda.
Yeah, proponents latch on to things like that. They'd say, see, it's not a coincidence, someone in the know is trying to tell us something. Kind of soft disclosure through art.
Maybe even coded messages in the music.
That's often the claim. Then there's the connection back to Robert Anton Wilson and his law of fives.
The idea that everything happens in fives or is related to five.
Yeah, and since 2 plus 3 equals 5, they see the 23 Enigma as being directly linked, maybe a core part of this larger interconnected numerical system governing reality.
It all starts to sound very interconnected if you follow their logic.
It does. They also bring in ancient numerology and sacred geometry.
Arguing that ancient civilizations knew about this. That's lost knowledge.
Precisely. Evidence of a suppressed understanding of the universe's code. And finally, there's a more subjective kind of evidence.
Like a feeling.
Kind of. That feeling some people have of being watched or guided, or that events in their life aren't purely random. Proponents might interpret that as a subconscious awareness of Axiom 23 subtly influencing their personal reality, their world line.
And the ultimate philosophical underpin, the universe is conscious.
Right. If the universe itself is conscious, or a product of consciousness, then Axiom 23 could be the mechanism through which that consciousness operates or manifests itself in the physical world.
Okay, that's quite a comprehensive set of claims and alleged evidence.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back to Earth. What does mainstream science make of all this?
Well, to put it bluntly, mainstream science, psychology, mathematics, they overwhelmingly reject the Axiom 23 theory as having any factual basis.
So how do they explain away all those 23s?
Primarily through those cognitive biases we mentioned earlier. Apophenia, confirmation bias, selection bias. Our brains are wired to find patterns, and once you prime yourself to look for 23, you will find it.
Then conveniently forget all the other numbers.
Exactly. You remember the hits and forget the misses. Statistically, it's expected.
How so?
In any large enough set of data, historical dates, measurements, random numbers, any specific number is going to appear numerous times if you allow yourself enough flexibility in how you count or interpret things.
Like adding digits or looking at parallels or using creative math.
Then you can make almost any number seem significant. It's statistically inevitable, not cosmically ordained.
Okay, what about synchronicity? Jung thought it was real.
Jung definitely explored synchronicity, but he saw it more as a causal connecting principle. Meaningful perhaps on a psychological or symbolic level for the individual experiencing it, but not evidence of external programming or a hidden code controlling events.
More about the observer's state of mind than the universe's operating system.
Largely, yes. Again, selective attention plays a huge role. We remember the weird, meaningful coincidence and forget the thousands of non-coincidences that happen every day.
And the music album, Axiom 23.
That's almost certainly just an artist being influenced by the existing lore. The 23 Enigma has been around in counterculture for decades. It makes for a cool, mysterious theme for music. It's art, not disclosure.
So fundamentally, no actual scientific evidence.
None. Zero empirical evidence from physics, cosmology, mathematics, anywhere supports the idea of an active, fundamental Axiom 23 controlling reality. The universe, as far as science can tell, runs on observable physical laws, probability, and yes, a healthy dose of randomness.
And no proof of these architects, aliens, archons, future humans.
Absolutely none. Pure speculation. Even the law of fives that Wilson talked about. He often used it playfully as a philosophical toy to demonstrate how belief shapes perception, not as a literal cosmic law.
It also sounds like the theory is constructed in a way that makes it impossible to disprove.
That's a major issue from a scientific perspective. It lacks falsifiability. Meaning there's no conceivable evidence that could prove it wrong. If you don't find 23s, proponents can say the axiom is subtle or hidden, or there's a cover-up. If an experiment fails to detect it, they can say the controllers interfered, or you shifted to a different world line where it's not apparent. It explains away anything that contradicts it.
Which makes it more of a belief system than a scientific hypothesis.
Exactly.
So, okay, if it's so easily debunked by science and logic, why does it stick around? Why does Axiom 23 endure as a conspiracy theory?
Because it speaks to some very deep human needs and psychological quirks, I think.
Like what?
Well, first, there's the allure of cosmic order. The universe can feel chaotic, random, even meaningless sometimes. The idea that there's a hidden code, an underlying plan, that's incredibly comforting. It gives events meaning, even bad ones.
It replaces scary randomness with potentially scary but understandable design.
Right. And our pattern recognition machinery loves it.
Yeah.
Once you get the idea of 23 in your head, you do start seeing it. It creates this compelling feedback loop, this self-reinforcing experience that feels real.
Yeah, I have to admit, just researching this, I started noticing 23s more. It's sticky.
It really is. Then there's the whole red pill narrative, the feeling of being awake while others are asleep.
That you've seen through the illusion.
Exactly. It offers this sense of having privileged knowledge, of being smarter or more perceptive than the masses. That's a powerful psychological draw.
And it counters that discomfort with randomness again. Big events can't just happen, right?
For many people, no. There's a deep-seated distrust of pure chance, especially for significant world events or personal tragedies. Axiom 23 offers an alternative, an underlying design, a hidden hand, even if it's controlling or manipulative.
It also taps into that classic trope of hidden knowledge, doesn't it? The idea that profound truths are out there, but suppressed.
Absolutely. The desire for secrets, for gnosis, for something deeper than mundane reality. And let's be honest, there's a certain existential thrill to it, too.
How so?
Just contemplating the possibility that reality is a program, that we're living inside some vast cosmic code. It's a mind-bending thought experiment. It's profound, even if you don't actually believe it.
And pop culture keeps feeding it, with movies and shows playing with the number.
Yeah, that definitely blurs the lines for some people, reinforcing the idea that there might be something to it. You know, the really fascinating insight here isn't just about the number 23 itself.
What is it?
It's about how our own minds work, how readily we seek patterns, how belief can shape perception. In a way, people who get deep into the 23 Enigma are kind of proving Robert Anton Wilson's original point about reality tunnels and self-fulfilling prophecies, whether they realize it or not.
So, wrapping this up, our deep dive into Axiom 23, the Cosmic Code of Control, has really shown how something like a recurring number can spiral into this incredibly elaborate narrative.
Yeah, a narrative about a universe governed by a hidden, intelligent, maybe even controlling principle.
With Axiom 23 acting as the fundamental algorithm, supposedly put there by aliens or interdimensional beings,
Well,
or even future us.
to subtly guide events, shape our thoughts, maybe even harvest our energy. It's quite the picture.
And even though science points firmly towards cognitive bias, probability, rational explanations for the 23 Enigma,
Yeah.
the theory persists.
Hmm.
It clearly resonates with people on a deeper level.
Because it offers order in chaos, that feeling of being in the know. It satisfies that deep human desire for hidden meaning, for something more than just random chance.
Definitely. It's a powerful mix of pattern recognition, distrust of authority, and the search for ultimate answers.
So as you go about your day, maybe pay attention to the patterns you notice. Are they just coincidence? Or could they be whispers from a deeper reality, hints of a cosmic code? Is it all just random chance? Or is there an intelligence, maybe deliberately hidden, pulling the strings? The captivating what if of Axiom 23. It definitely leaves you wondering, doesn't it? It keeps echoing right there at the edge of perception.